Now I'm going to show you the basic retouching tools in Photoshop. And the fact I'm calling them basic, it doesn't mean they are not good or something, because they're all of our retouching tools in Photoshop. And later on, when we want to retouch the image, we mix all of the tools and different techniques to do this. So it's very important to know all of the retouching tools that exist in Photoshop. Let's have a look over here. They exist on this left side, and in the retouching tools belongs healing brush tool, spot healing brush tool, and patch tool. And these two last ones I'm not counting because you're not going to use them, so it's very important to know these three. I never used these tools in my few years of retouching work. Also, brush tool you can use as a retouching if you want to fix some of the tones, as well as clone stamp tool, which you're going to use quite often as well. And it doesn't mean that you can choose just one tool you really like and use it for all of your work. All of these tools are designed for different tasks, so you're going to use specific tool to the specific task. If you're going to have different thing to do, you're going to use different tool. Let's open this image because it has quite messy skin texture. And when I'm zoomed this in, as you can see, it has a lot of these white spots. That's the first thing I need to take care of, because it's just problem with the image. It's not the skin texture, but there is something we need to do with this. I'm going to create new layer, because as you remember, I really want to work non-destructively. So we can create a new layer and work non-destructively. The first tool I'm going to use for this task is spot healing brush tool. So I'm choosing this and make sure sample all layers is selected. Thanks to that, our effect is going to be applied to all of the layers, so it's going to be visible on all of the layers. If it won't be selected, it will be impossible to work on this new layer. So I'm going to start with this, and really great thing about spot healing brush tool that is going to adjust the color by default. So you don't need to take any clone, or you don't need to take any sample to fix the skin. Let's have a look. I'm just going to paint on it. You can click on it. If you use a tablet, just paint on it. And as you can see, it fixes nothing easier, we could say, because we just paint on it and it's super quick, and it doesn't mean it's wrong, because professional retouchers around the globe are using this tool for their work, for the specific task. If you have something like this, why not use it when we can resolve this by such a simple tool? The thing can get a bit more complicated. Here I think I could use it, but the thing can get a bit more complicated when we have some of them specific areas. I usually mix this tool if I have some more specific, the image I want to be a bit more detailed. I'm switching this into healing brush tool. Healing brush tool works the same, however this time it's not going to adjust the skin texture by default, but we're going to take a sample at first. For example, next to the area we want to retouch, I'm going to take a sample, and when I'm going to paint on it, it's taking a sample from the area next to it. So it's a bit more precise, and if we have a bit more complicated work, that will be a really great tool to use it. You can see how does it works. It's really soft and precise, and it actually blends two areas. It blends the stamp and the area, and it fixes it really nicely. So okay, these two are basic tools I wanted to show you. Let's go back to this image, because we have already some spots that we need to sort out some way. For example, like this. And this can be huge issue for the image. Okay, we can fix this white spot over here by using spot healing brush tool, but to fix this whole area by any of this tool would be a nightmare. And you can actually see that it doesn't work so well. Even if we're going to make this tool a bit bigger, well, yeah, it doesn't look so well really. And the same way it's going to work when you're going to use Healing Brush Tool. So what to do in this case? I would recommend to use Patch Tool. However, Patch Tool is not going to work on the new layer, so I'm going to work on the background layer. I'm going to create a stamp on the top. To create a stamp, press Alt, Control or Command Shift and E, because I need to work on the actual layer. Often I start with this as a first tool, so if you start as a first tool, just duplicate your background layer, Control or Command and J, and then work with Patch Tool on the actual layer, because we cannot work on the separate layer like this, so it's better to duplicate this to not affect our original layer. How Patch Tool works, as you can see, everything I'm going to keep the same. Remember these options over here, they work the same as in the case of selection tools. Patch, we have normal and content aware. You can forget about content aware in most of the cases because it's not so precise as normal, and that's the difference between them. And here we have source and destination. Also, we have option transparent, which won't be good because transparent is actually blends two sources and it's not going to do the job right. So everything I'm going to keep by default. And this layer too, I'm going to do a selection around this and I'm going to move this to the right area, and it's really nice fixed, as you can see, by our source. I can do the same over here, and once again it's really doing the job really great. We have different options with Patch Tool. For example, when I hit destination, as you can see, we would copy this and it won't be nice, but we can choose the destination, for example this area, and I'm going to place this over here, and that's it. It's not going to work so perfect as source, so source is something I'm using the most because it's the most comfortable, we could easily say. I'm going to show you maybe example how the transparent work. Let's find some spot, even here. I'm going to try to duplicate this, and as you can see, transparent actually not going to do the job as we really want, because it's some kind of blend in these two sources and it doesn't look so well. So that's the thing you need to know about this for sure. And also we have Clone Stamp Tool. Clone Stamp Tool is a really strong tool and we have to be really careful because it can be really destructive. And for what I recommend to use Clone Stamp Tool is we have this stray hair over here. So I'm going to use Clone Stamp Tool for it, and we cannot do this by other tool, it won't be really comfortable. So I'm just going to make it smaller. I'm going to take a clone, and as you can see, it's picking up the source where we took a clone, and it makes the job really done. It wasn't so precise now, but you can see the job is really done really nicely. So that's how it works. Also on the face, sometimes when we getting close to the edges, using Healing Brush Tool might be a bit difficult. So often when I remove the hair, I'm working actually with the Clone Stamp Tool, but it takes a while, it takes some precise, and after a while you're going to notice the difference. You're going to see what works better for what, and also you're going to understand some of the techniques which allows you to use these all tools in a bit better way. So in the next lesson I'm going to explain you some differences between Healing Brush Tool and Clone Stamp Tool, because there is some, and I think that difference might be a bit confusing, so I believe I need to explain you this in the next lesson.